Hey guys, I'm back with another writing lesson. I want to talk today about revising. Revising means that you're adding new stuff to your stories to make it better, more details. You're bringing your story to life. And remember, you don't have to wait till the end of the unit to revise. You can go back during the unit and revise stories. When you learn new things, you can go back and put them into your stories. When you find new ways to make your fiction books sparkle, you can add that into your stories. And one way to make your fiction book sparkle is to study what other authors do, mentor authors, right? We've done that throughout the year. You can see what your favorite authors do, and then you can try to do those in your stories. Now, I attached below this lesson Henry and Mudge and the Happy Cat. And I want you to look at how that story gives you clues about the setting and the pictures and the words. The beginning of the story talks about where they're watching TV on the couch, Henry and Mudge and his dad. And when you read those details, you could almost hear the TV playing and you could almost feel Mudge snuggled up against you. They use the word suddenly, which when we have that as a spelling word, I told you that would be a good word for your stories to make the action and the story exciting. Suddenly, and you can even put the ... and at the end of the page and make the readers turn the page. They have the pictures and the words have a lot of details. There's a lot of details about the characters. Sometimes there's patterns in the words and pictures. I'm going to show you some in Henry and Mudge and the Bedtime Thumps. I don't have the Happy Cat book here, so I'm using this one. But even on the first page to Grandmother's House, you can see that Henry looks happy. Mom looks happy. Mudge doesn't look so happy in the picture. I wonder why. Look at his eyes. It says Henry and his big dog Mudge were going to the country with Henry's parents. Henry was reading comic books. Mudge was chewing his toenails. Usually when you chew your toenails, you're not so happy. Or when you bite your nails, you're not so happy. You're nervous, right? And then on the next page, it says they were going to visit Henry's grandmother. Henry's grandmother had never met Mudge. So Henry worried. He worried that Mudge might drool on her skirt. So Henry was worried too. He worried that Mudge might eat her coffee table. But mostly he worried that Mudge might have to sleep outside. Do you see the three things he worried about? That's a pattern. He worried that Mudge might drool on her skirt. He worried that Mudge might eat her coffee table. But mostly he worried that Mudge might have to sleep outside. Okay? You can try to do that in your story. Add a pattern in. Okay? Then let's see. Here's some more actions. On this page it says, Henry read his comic books and worried. The longer he wrote, the more he worried. Soon he began to bite his fingernails. Chew, bite, spit. Chew, bite, spit. Henry bit his fingernails, Mudge chewed his toenails, and the car drove on. Okay? So at first, Henry looks happy, but then he's worried. And listen to all the little actions. This is just a little bit of time in the car. They're zooming in on all the actions. He read his comic books and worried. I guess he was thinking while he was reading, he became worried. He began to bite his fingernails, and then it says, look up the pattern. Chew, bite, spit. Chew, bite, spit. Henry bit his fingernails, Mudge chewed his toenails, and the car drove on. It didn't skip the whole part in the car and say they were already there. It zoomed in on even the car ride, okay? Let's see. I wanted to skip ahead to, here's another pattern. So when they got there, it says, It says, Henry looked at Mudge and for the first time wished that Mudge was smaller, shorter, thinner. Mudge looked like an elephant in a phone booth. You You see Mudge was knocking stuff over. It says, and before too long, Mudge knocked a pink flamingo off the table. "Oh, Mudge," Henry said. Henry's father gave Mudge a look. So first he knocked the flamingo. Now let's look at the next page. Then Mudge knocked a wishing well off of the table. "Oh, Mudge," Henry said. Henry's father and Henry's mother gave Mudge a look. Then when Mudge knocked a bowl of peppermints off the table, Henry's father and Henry's mother and Henry's grandmother gave Mudge a look. Did you see the pattern? First, Mudge knocked one thing, and then Henry said, "Oh, Mudge," and then the father gave a look. Then he knocked something else. Henry said, "Oh, Mudge," and then they gave, the mother and father gave a look. Then he knocked one more thing over, and then they gave another look. You see the pattern? Okay, you can add the pattern in your story. If you see in your one of your favorite author's books things that you can use in your story, you can try them out. Here she has, then wish, flop. You see the big words? Let me remove the post-it so you can see Henry in the bed. You see the big words? Those are called pop-out words. You can make them big. You can make them dark. That's a craft move you can use in your story, okay? Now, I just want to share this story that I wrote about Michelle and Emma, which I was telling you last time. It says, Michelle was 7 years old. She loved to go to the beach, especially with her family and friends. She loved to play and run in the sand. One day, she went to the beach with her friend Emma. And you see the feeling on their faces. It was an extra hot afternoon in August. The sun was burning their skin. Michelle and Emma played on the sand for a while, making sandcastles. Then they had a picnic. Michelle's parents gave each of them a sandwich, juice, and some chips. So I heard some actions there that they let me go to the second page. Well, first I told about the setting, and then they played in the sand, making sandcastles. Then they had a picnic. Then they got their juice. There's actions. Now here's some talking. I'm so hot, Michelle said. See how I made so long? I exaggerated it. That's a craft move. Well, then let's go in the water, replied Emma. Michelle started trembling, and sweat ran down her forehead. How was she feeling? I didn't say how she was feeling. I used other words for said. I have talking back and forth. She was worried about sharks in the water. She was worried about someone pushing her into the water, but mostly she was worried that she would drown because she couldn't swim. There's my pattern. She worried about one thing, she worried about something else, but mostly she worried about. You can see the feelings on their faces, the speech bubbles. Emma ran to the water. Come on, Michelle, said Emma. No thanks, mumbled Michelle. You see the word mumbled for said? All right, so I shared some of the story. Now, this story is long, so I'm going to read the rest of it next time. But try to use some of those things that I used in my story. Some of the things that I used in my story were because I read them in some of my favorite authors' books, and that's what we do. We can use our favorite authors, use the techniques that they have in their stories and use them in ours, try them out in ours. So maybe before you start a new book, maybe you could take some time and go back and revise an old book, add some sparkle to it, okay, by doing some of the things that maybe Cynthia Ryland did, or maybe one of your favorite authors did. Look what Zoe did in this book called Gigi at School. Gigi was going to school with her cat. She was happy because it was show and tell. Now look on this page at the pop-out word she added. Then Gigi loses her cat. She screamed, "Cat, come back!" Her cat did not come back. See the pop-out words? That's something that Zoe learned from Cynthia Ryland. Gigi looked and looked for the cat. She did not find the cat. She looked next to the books, and she looked next to the art room. There's a pattern, all the places that she looked. Then she found the cat in the lunchroom. The cat ran away because the cat had babies. Last, Gigi's cat had a baby. She had 2 babies. Okay, and that's the end of the story. But Zoe used some things that she learned from her favorite authors, and that's what I want you to do. Okay, I'll see you next time.